Hi, Exodus and Toodle. Welcome to your Tuesday devotional. I'm Kevin Hastings, the Associate Pastor at Exodus. If you've ever tried to teach someone about baseball or football or basketball, they can understand it pretty well, but then they kind of look at you a little inquisitively when you explain to them that there are unwritten rules of the game as well, and it can really throw them off. In Major League Baseball, there was a big hullabaloo about a player who hit a home run in the 8th inning and really pretty much iced the game for his team, but he hit it on a 3-0 pitch, and you're not supposed to hit a 3-0 pitch, at least according to the opposing team, and it caused almost a big brawl in the game because that's an unwritten rule and you don't do that. It can be a bit confusing. In basketball, it's the same way. You think that the goal is to score every minute of the game, but if you're ahead by 4 or 5 points, you don't go in and dunk the basketball with like 3 or 4 seconds left because, well, that's unwritten rule of the game. You don't embarrass the other team that way. NFL football, any kind of football is the same way. You don't kick a field goal with a few seconds left ahead by 14 points because that's unwritten rule. You just don't do that. I feel like that applying this to my faith, I feel like that I at times have kind of added some unwritten rules as well. I mean, I know the scriptures, I know what it says, I know the rules, and yet there are times that I think I add my own flavor into things, and it tends to get me off-centered a little bit, and it tends to make it more about my interpretation of the scriptures compared to what the truth of the scripture really is. And when I find myself doing that, I like to kind of center myself, and what I do, I kind of rewind and go back to some of the basic scriptures that I learned as a kid, and ones that I loved, and ones that seemed to make sense to me. And two in particular, I always go back to. One is the scripture until it talks about Jesus, and they ask Jesus, what must I do to be saved? And he says 2 simple things. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and mind, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And how refreshing it is that I just think how just simple those words are. And then I'll go back to the Old Testament, and a scripture which keeps flowing back to me is Micah 6:8, kind of the requirements of what God expects of you. And it goes like this: He has shown you, O man, what is good and what the Lord requires of thee, but to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with thy God. So I encourage you to center yourself this week and just go back to those scriptures that you know as truth, but also to reflect on how that looks in your life. How does it look to do justly? And do you do that 100% of the time in your life, or do you kind of tend to pick and choose where you want to be just? And what about loving mercy? Is that kind of a thing where you just, there are times to show mercy and there's times when you're not supposed to show mercy because, of course, Jesus or God wouldn't want that. No, I think that's another 100% buy-in, a scripture that you can really hold on to. Love mercy in all situations. And then lastly, walking humbly with thy God. How do you do that? And how does that look in your life? Are you humble in your faith? Are you one that, that walks confidently, but yet also walks with the truth of God and knowing that you're having that relationship with Him and that you can approach, God and also other people humbly as well? So I hope that you can kind of get some strength and center yourself in those scriptures and find the scriptures that you like that has centered you throughout your journey, throughout the time when you first got to know Jesus and was excited about the scriptures. I pray that these verses and these scriptures that you have in your life will center you, will bring you back to a spot of strength, and will, just be a good thing in your life. And so I pray that you do that this week. I pray that you gain strength and go back to what you know in the scriptures and rest in that knowledge. So anyway, I hope you have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next time.